Hello everyone. I cut my forehead. I don't know how, but I did. How are we doing? Look at that. It just happens. It happens, I guess. Alice came home and said, "Have you got paint on your forehead?" I went, "Oh no, that's blood." Oh, dearie me. How are we? Are we good? How's it hanging? I'm enjoying this jam. I'll stop enjoying the jam. Yes, we are here. We are live. What are we doing today? We're building some Space Marines is what we're doing. We're going to chat as well and tell you a little bit more about the plan. The plan has been... A plan is forming. A plan is coming together slowly but surely. We're going to be, as you know, we've talked about the airbrush. This is the next part in that journey. So today we are going to... We're going to build some Horus Heresy Space Marines. I'm going to tell you what I'm thinking and why. As you may have noticed by the thumbnail, I have narrowed it down to Blood Angels and Imperial Fists. Now, one of the things I bought over the New Year's period was the new battle group. I bought that. I bought the new Horus Heresy, the big box. I'm just getting it so you can see it. Plow. That one. Siege Assault Battle Group. So this one comes with 10 Cataphracti Terminators, 10 Breachers, and a Leviathan Dreadnought. So that's cool. That's what comes in here. So, what I also have is the old Age of Darkness box, which I never did anything with, apart from the Mark 6 Tactical Squad, where we painted one of every Legion. But in that box also comes 10 Cataphracti Terminators. So this is the one with Mark 6s in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to build these Terminators in here to practice on for the new Terminators. And that will tell us, that'll help, that will give us 10 opportunities to not completely bugger it up. Just see, are you picking up on my vibe? So that's what we're gonna do. You're not picking up on my vibe, Captain Mannings. Okay. What about my vibe is putting you off? Just badges. I see. I see. So yeah, my view is, like you guys are saying in the chat, we have done the Fellblade. We have got Dawn already done. I have Evander Garius. I have Sigismund. I have Fafnir ran when he could have walked. It makes sense to do something along the lines of Imperial Fists. It does make sense to do that. That is something that is something that would be a sensible thing to do. And I think Imperial Fist is generally pretty easy anyway, because it's yellow and black with a bit of silver. And ultimately, all the airbrush is going to do for me in this situation is it's going to let me airbrush Imperial Fist contrast paint all over all of our models. So, the first thing, obviously, I have to learn is how to prime my miniatures and to figure out which way I want to do it. Now, typically, I would prime things with a can of Wraithbone, and that would make sense, but we might as well learn to prime with the airbrush. So I've got to change it slightly in that we're gonna airbrush the primer on, and that's gonna be our first video. Is we're just gonna airbrush a bunch of miniatures. But I've been thinking over the past couple of weeks about it, and the only way I feel like this tool makes sense to me is to do lots of miniatures at once. It's an army painting tool, to me, to my eyes. So it makes sense to do it that way. So I've got 10 opportunities here to not get it completely wrong. Going for pink or brown in the shadows? No. I'm just going to follow my recipe for Imperial Fists. That's what I'm going to do. And see if it's awful. Same thing for Blood Angels. If I end up going for Blood Angels, I think for Blood Angels, actually, to be in Blood Angels' defense, I think for Blood Angels you probably don't need to do the Baal Red layer. For Blood Angels, you probably just want to do Blood Angels Red because it's a bit darker than Baal Red. Baal Red's very cherry, very tomatoey, whereas Blood Angels Red's got a bit of brown about it, which is kind of what you want. Wrong. This is the thing. Any video that I make in this area, the thing I can't stress enough about how little or how much I'm dreading making this video about this tool is no matter what I say or do, as I've encountered so far, with lots of people sending me completely different advice, I will say. Hi, Warhipster. Saw that you're planning on doing some airbrushing. I would recommend that you only ever mix your paints under a full moon. Something about it just makes the paint flow a lot better through the needle. What I'd also recommend is using pure vodka through the cup and then lighting it on fire to really sterilize it. Interesting. Exactly, Captain Manners. Good evening, Idra. If you want to stay using GW paints for Blood Angels, maybe use Mephisto and Red Air. I don't own that. I'm not buying anything for this. I've already bought like 30 different things in order to get priming off the ground. It's absolutely outrageous. I'm not buying any additional paints. I'm just going to use what I've got. And I'll figure it out. So yeah, that's my kind of, that's what I'm thinking of. So, and I've got to learn, you know, I've got to figure these things out. So yeah, it's interesting with these. These are the slightly older cataphractii that I'm building. Hence why we're not doing an overlook on the overhead camera, because this is just an old model kit. We haven't busted out the new ones. I might film the building of the new ones for this video. In case anybody is interested in the new Cataphractii Terminators. Be interesting, actually, to see what the difference in size between them is, if indeed there is one. But I am under the impression, that there is a bit of a difference, which is cool. What I might try and do is I might try and do a zenithal type thing to see if it actually makes any bloody difference whatsoever. Because one thing I'm very aware of is I'm used to one coat paint solutions. So I'm used to, for example, if I wanted to do ultramarines, right? And I want it to look exactly the way that I do it now. I can't just do through the airbrush Assaman blue followed by ultramarines blue, because what I won't have is I won't have any of the recesses if I do that, because the airbrush just removes that sort of contrast paint nature of it. It takes away the it removes the two coat, the sort of the darker and the lighter. It creates a mixture of the two, because it can't discern it that way through the. It's not designed to be done that way. But what it is designed, what it does work through as an airbrush is just being basically a pre-thinned paint that goes in anyway. So if it's the color that you like, then it's the right color to use. Same like an air, but it's not going to do the contrast thing, right? So in order to put shade in, you have to do a couple of different things. And there's multiple different ways to do that, of course. Naturally, my instinct was to, if I was to do Imperial Fists, it's to airbrush Imperial Fists yellow all over the top of all of the model, over the yellow bits, and then go in with a brush and shade them with the and yellow mix. That was my instinct. And I was assured that yes, that is probably the correct way of doing it. But naturally there's two other ways to do things. One is to do the zenithal thing, because that creates the shade that you're not going to get from the contrast paint otherwise. But it's not going to create consistent shading all over the place. The other was to get it all looking lovely, then seal it down with some some gloss varnish, and then use an oil wash. But I'm not doing that. Nope. So I don't know how I'm going to do it. Have you seen any of the airbrush tutorials? No, I'm trying not to watch them. Croaterm. Because what I don't want to do, I don't want to make a video that just is influenced in any way by the people who are really good at this sort of thing, like the airbrushing thing. It doesn't. To me, it's terrible content for me to be like, all right, I watched this video, so now I'm gonna just regurgitate the content, but in my voice. I don't see any value in that. I think there's perhaps value in going back afterwards and having a look to see where I went wrong, to pick up anything else. But in this early stage, there's no point me it's fine to be your experience of it. Yeah, but I know I'm not going to be very good at this. So me making a video where I'm like, I'm really bad at this. And I followed this person's video. It makes it sound like I'm saying that video is bad. There is no value add in me regurgitating information from somewhere else. It's better for me to go in, pardon the pun, unvarnished and unfurnished and learn these skills. And if I screw it up, I screw it up, you know. Uh, 21. Seems like the delivery service has some issues due to weather. Ugh. Not the weather. It'd be good to see a very experienced painter learn something new and see how your existing skills and knowledge translates across. Sounds fascinating, like a guitarist learning to play a violin. Yeah, kind of. I mean, that's what I mean. Is like trying to find something new to say or do in the painting space is really, really difficult. And like, I'm not doing this so that I can do Airbrush Plus. No, that's not why we're doing it. I'm doing it to try and learn something about it and put my money where my mouth is. See if I actually think it's a good tool or not. And my opinion will be formed by that, if you see what I mean. And I recognize that there's a lot of... I mean, I know for a fact there's a lot of really great content out there for all forms of painting, especially airbrush painting. You know, I'm well aware of like some of the really cool stuff that like Cult of Paint, for example, do with the airbrush. But I don't want to make a Cult of Paint tutorial. I want to make a... Alright guys, I get it. I see why you like the airbrush. That kind of thing. That might be the outcome. Or it might be, I'm a fat-thumbed moron who's not very good at painting. And I just don't think I'm going to get on with this. That is also a possibility. I'm open to all possibilities in that regard. Shadow Legion, thank you very much for the 10 euros. Will we ever see you paint Star Wars Legion? Maybe someday. Maybe. I have an enormous backlog of other things to do. And the sad reality is that even a game as popular as Star Wars Legion, a game as popular as the Star Wars games, the content just doesn't do very well. And it's very difficult to make just to invest all of that time, money, and effort for the return on it to be bad, if you see what I mean. I have to think about being able to pay the bills first and foremost. But thank you very much for the 10 euros. Just need your take on Vader and lightsabers. I mean, surely the vibe is just prime it white, like do it white, and then you'd actually, for Vader, it's pretty easy. You probably just want Bal red over the saber. There's no edge to it. It's just a red stick, isn't it? So going the brightest primer you possibly can. Even if you prime the whole thing in, say, grey sear, just re-layering that blade with white scar, and then just Bal red over the top, and then you're probably sorted for a red lightsaber. For blue, I would probably, my instinct would be to say, you're probably looking at white again as a base, and Frost Heart over the top. Green is a slightly different choice, because I feel like the green changes movie to movie. But my instinct would be to say Corandrus green is probably, again, similarly over a white. Is my instinct. You're enabling to prime without having to go outside. Good emergency option. Sort of. I think the main question that would be answered is if the new tool changes anything about your painting process, or if it ends up only being used once in a blue moon. Oh, there you go. And that I think is also a very valuable conversation to have about it. Because I think, as far as I can tell, looking at it, vibing with it, thinking about it, for what I do, I think it just adds a layer of hassle. I've talked about this quite often with like prosecuting the process. Think about the things that you're doing. You know, why are you doing that with every miniature? Why are you doing it this way? Why are you doing it that way? Can you do it a different way? Can you slow it down? Can you make it easier? Can you do this, that, and the other? There's all that kind of thing. So I think for what I do, generally, it's actually more hassle than it's worth. Generally. So, in that regard, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, we put it away and we never use it and never speak of it ever again. But if there's something that I don't do generally, which is army paint, like a Horus Heresy army, for example, okay, it's a little bit more compelling then. Same for something like, if I just want to finish off big projects of stuff, like, as I've said before, like another thing I would love to do with this, and I'm still trying to figure out in my head how to make that good, is to do all of the Tau I have lying around. I have a lot of Tau models lying around in my house. So that's a fairly compelling reason to do it, because you know, am I likely to sit and if let's say I choose to do the Tau sept, which is what I've done most of my personal Tau in, which is that sort of ochre. The ochre colour. I've got something like 50 or 60 fire warriors in this house. I am never, ever, 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 ever going to have the time to sit down and contrast plus 50 to 60 fire warriors. There is no universe where that's a thing. Ever. So is it possible, and this is the question, is it possible to use an airbrush to speed up, personally, for me, the painting of the helmet, the gun, the shoulder, and the chest by using some form of Tau light ochre thing to get it similar to what I've done in the past, to then be able to go back and do the rest of it with Black Legion, for example, because that's the majority of the colour. Oh yeah, no, there's definitely a compelling use case in that scenario. But that's for me, that's a personal project for me, because we've already filmed it. Whereas when Games Workshop comes out with I don't know, what's come out recently? The Wardens of Ultramar. It's not going to help me in that regard. I'm gonna spend a lot of time setting up to get the Assaman blue on there, to then have to go and tidy up and correct it anyway, because it's not accurate, or build it in a ton of sub-assemblies, which I don't want to do either, and this, that, and the other. Do you see what I mean? So it's like, Well, actually, I don't feel like that does fit into my workflow at all, because what I want to do is paint it the way I like to paint, which is in the Contrast Plus way, which is why I make so many videos about it. Because I genuinely love the final finish that I get on my miniatures and the way that I paint them, and I'm sure a number of you do too, given as that we now have 98,005 subscribers to the channel. So I don't want to change that, because I like that. Josh, do you like contrast? I do. I am a fan. I don't understand sub-assemblies, and I have done them. I find trying to put the model together after painting makes the paint get ruined. Agreed. Agreed. I don't love them either, as you know. That's why I don't do them. Way! Are you receiving negative feedback from the community? Yeah. Constantly, all the time. Who dares leave negative feedback? Oh, you'd be surprised. Did we start brushing yet? No, we're building. And deciding. I think you guys are right. I think Imperial Fists is probably the right way to do it. Is the right thing to do. Not least because if I do an Imperial Fist video, I can get 8,000 comments telling me, asking me if I'm aware that if you put pink under it first, you get a really nice shading. Have you ever painted a Drukhari vehicle? No. Not to completion. I haven't. Do you also get all Horus Heresy from Games Workshop? No, I do not. I very, 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 very rarely get something from Games Workshop for Horus Heresy. I can't remember the last thing I got for Horus Heresy. It's a long time ago now. What would it have been? Oh, the last thing I got was the Arachne Quad accelerator cannon. That was the last thing I got. Speaking of vehicles, with the airbrush, will we finally see Krieg, Rogel Dawn, and Lehman Russ tutorials? Oh, I didn't do those with the airbrush. I'm not going to start doing them with the airbrush now. I'll do them the way I did them before, with a hairy stick and a couple of rattle cans. If you want to see how I did the Lehman Russ, it's here on the channel. It's last year's New Year's Day stream. Just go and watch that. That's how I did it. My negative feedback is you work too hard. That's certainly very true. But if I don't do it, if I don't get those videos out, I can't pay the rent. So I have to. I have to do it, I'm afraid. I make about £35 a day in ad revenue. Saturnine. I was not sent Saturnine. I was sent an Arachne Quad accelerator cannon. What was the other alternative? The other alternative was Blood Angels, because it's an army and a color scheme that I know oh so very well, having painted hundreds of the buggers in my time, and because I like them. That's the thing, is like I like painting Blood Angels, and I know that they're easy. So that would have been that's another alternative. But Imperial Fists feels like a good one because it's also a pretty easy color scheme. It's yellow and black in it. Bit of silver. I can imagine it also gets you always painting because now it's your job. I love painting. I really do. I love painting the way that I paint. I love making the videos. I love doing all of that stuff. It's the best job in the world. What I don't get an opportunity very often these days is to finish projects out. So it means what I have is I have a veritable smorgasbord of started projects and initiated armies and like half painted things here and there, but it is wonderful. It just means you don't have any time. I don't have any time for it to do stuff for myself, really. Which is why currently we're trying to do 20 minutes a day on the Ultramarines. Thought you did a Dreadnought. I did not, I'm afraid. No. I wanted to do the Dreadnought. I didn't particularly want to do the Arachne Quad. But I don't think anybody wanted to do the Arachne Quad. So that's why I did it. Captain Batterings. Josh, did you know you can put pink in the shadows for Imperial Fists and it looks really good? I didn't! This brand new information to me. Literally changed my life. What do you think 40k 11th edition starter box will have other than the Ultramarines in it this time? Oh, something disappointing? I can tell you what I would like there to be in the 11th edition box, which I know it's not going to happen. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I would like there to be a brand new, all singing, all dancing, chaos undivided Mortals faction called the Lost and the Damned, or something like that. Which contains brand new cultists and undivided demons and, you know, sort of militia and Imperial Guardsmen, or traitor Guardsmen, and all that kind of thing. Mortals, not just Space Marines. That's what I would like there to be. As to what there will be, couldn't tell you. Where do you keep all the painted stuff? You have so many painted minis. They are scattered all over the house in any corner where I can possibly... I don't know if you guys noticed, but I put a new shelf in up here. There is a new shelf up there. I put my Tomb King's Blood Bowl, my Bretonnian Blood Bowl, some of the characters I've painted over the last 6 months, Helm Hammerhand, the Halls of Thranduil, and the Last Alliance of Elves and Men are in there, and the Jade Warriors Miao Ying on human form, and the Gate Masters of the Celestial Cities are in there. Took me 10 minutes to put it in. Took me 5 minutes to fill it, and it hasn't even made a dent. Did you know you're a bit part of the reason I got 81 models painted this year of Warhipster's Tales? Did you mean big part, or are you telling me I was a bit part of that? Because I feel like that's not a reason to give me any praise. Right, I am way confused. Oh, I see what it's saying. Right. So one of these is a sergeant, and that's why we use one. Okay. Right. Yep, it makes sense now. One, two, three, four. Oh god. 5. Perfect. Blood Angels does have some cool character models in Heresy, but it should be Fists. Yeah, I've done, obviously I've done Sanguinius, I've done Dominion Zephon. The only one The one I really wanted for ages was Raldoron, but he was never in stock when I had any money, so I never got him. I would still like to do him, but I've done Sanguinius and Zephon. I have the Praetor on foot somewhere. I have the Crimson Paladins as well, and I have the Dawnbroker cohort. I've got all of them. They're all here somewhere. Dark Mechanicus. Dark Mechanicus, yep, would be lovely. Would be lovely. I think we'll get our first teaser on Friday of what it's going to be. I think we'll see it. I don't think you'll see any. You might see one model, maybe. But I think we'll get a teaser video. I think the big headline, of course, is going to be the Red Corsairs and maybe the next 500 Worlds book will be called 500 Worlds Huron or something like that, maybe. Because I would be shocked to my core if it was just the one book in the series. It's called Maelstrom. And how do we know that? Has that been previewed? Space Hulk is my dream. Space Hulk would be dope. Battlefleet Gothic would be wonderful as well. If they simultaneously released Battlefleet Gothic and I want to say Man of War. Is that what it used to be called? Or Dreadfleet? I always get the two confused. That'll be when we go through our specialist games arc. I'll be like, yep, done with mainline now. We're just going to paint Necromunda, Battlefleet Gothic, and... Do you know what? I could see, and I think it would be... I could see Space Hulk maybe being this year. Given as it's a 40k banner year. It's also like, it's a significant anniversary this year as well, isn't it? Is it 40 or 50 years? Can't remember. There's an amount of years it's been. Gorka Morka back from the dead, yeah. There was a game a long time ago. And I don't know if anybody has it or if anybody played it, but it was really good. And I want to say it was called Gangs of Comera. And in it, it had a bunch of jet bikes and a bunch of the chaps on flying surfboards. That game, to this day, I still maintain is one of the best games that Games Workshop's ever made. It's so fun. It was such a fun game. Speed Freaks was really good as well, as was Lost Patrol. Did anyone play Lost Patrol? Lost Patrol was good. They now have all the Termies redone in new scale. Would be nice time to put them in a Hulk. The interesting thing about that, I saw someone saying a similar thing the other day, is why haven't they done Space Hulk, blah, 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 blah. It would have been a perfect way to give us Blood Angels Terminators. And let's face it, that's not something they're really interested in doing, right? Especially for the Blood Angels, they just want to take things away from them over and over and over again, and I'm not bitter about it at all. However, I saw someone talking about that the other day, and I thought to myself, do you know what? Now that Space Hulk's going to be a really difficult game for them to make with new miniatures, but a really easy game for them to make for, like, you know when they released those games in, like, Target? Those, like, the Blood Ravens book. Excuse me, the Blood Ravens box that came out. I can't remember what it's called. But you know the ones I'm talking about? Barnes & Noble and stuff, they released those small little board games in. It's very easy for them to put some push-fit Terminators in there, and of course they redesigned the Gene Stealers this edition as well. So there's not really any opportunity to make new miniatures, but there is a way to reissue Space Hulk but with old models. And I feel like that's more likely than a brand new version of Space Hulk. That's the slightly sad thing about it. Okay. So for our Cataphractii Sergeant, we need 70 and 69. Way. $70. Well, and in that vein about the cardboard taking up the most weight, there is a use case where you could do a big old book like they did with Darkwater. Alright, I'll see you in 4 years, chat. Tiny bit just dropped on the floor. Because of course it did, because it always does. We do that once per stream around here. Ah, my true height. I found it. It's not that bad. Good evening, Martin Spoon. How are you? Tell me on 9:30. Will we get 5 Cataphractii Terminators built by the end of the stream? Survey says not likely. Paging a Lord of Plagues. And not as I always read it, a Lord of Plaques. I'd be the Lord of I dropped it again. Got it. Painting up some Khandish charioteers. Someone's having all the fun. I still can't find my Army of the Dead, and it's really annoying me. I have no idea where they've gone. And I really don't want to just buy another set, because I know that they're here somewhere. I mean, I can just eat the loss and just paint the 3 hunters, but I'd rather not. I think Aragorn did release them from their service. I imagine this question is asked a lot, but have you ever considered doing a video where you show off all of your painted models? I have considered a video doing that. The problem is I don't have the space to do it, because I'm sure, as you can imagine, there are several thousand of those in this house. And I simply don't have the room to do it. Which is a shame. That's why one of the reasons why I had to buy that additional shelf up there was to try and alleviate 50 to 60 models worth of space in here. But there is an entire shelf that's full of painted models as well. Shelf? Shed. Did I say shelf or shed? There's an entire shed. What I would love is to have it all in one place, but I just simply don't have the room. But maybe one day, when we finally move, you'll see them in all their glory. The hope was that we would design the studio in such a way where you would be able to see all of it behind me. The treasure trove. Oh, that sneeze has been coming for about 40 minutes. Have you ever considered auctioning some to charity? I think charities have got better things to be doing than watching my stream and bidding on my models. I would, to answer your question seriously, I would, I would like to do some more stuff towards supporting some charities. I would like to do it. I would prefer to do it quietly, with my money rather than with everyone else's money. If you see what I mean. You know, I give to the British Heart Foundation at the moment. Ah! What did I just cut off? 61. Right. 61. This is what I had 60. Yes. Okay, it's all starting to make a little bit of sense. Boom. God. That'll do. And then we need 62 and 63. Oh, they're all the same. Okay. 62. God, it's taking me about 11 minutes just to get through this bit. Don't know when I became so time conscious. Oh, right. I remember. Trying to stick to 20 minutes a day. It's really difficult doing that as a full-time painter. Doing like painting in moderation is a very difficult thing for me. I've realized over the last 2 weeks, because I'll get to about a minute 11 and I'll be like, right, I'm in the swing of it now. I'm good. I'm going. And then I'm like, nope, you've only got 9 minutes left. It's like, panic, and then stop. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, the amount of times I've thought, I'm just going to do this for these 5 models, and then I'm just going to give up and do the rest of it in like a splurging of hobby. But I'm trying my hardest to enjoy it. But that was, to me, it was very interesting that I have learned about myself that painting in moderation is not something that I enjoy. As it were. Like, it's fun seeing it slowly come together, but at the same time, it's like, I know that if I just did like 2 or 3 hours straight, they would get to a point where I'd be really happy with them. And so it's like, ugh. Hello, Warcursed Minis. I need component number 64. 64. Where are you? There. Where does this go? Just right on the tippy tip. Okay. That does not seem right. And yet, that is what they tell me to do. Alright, we've put 1 Cataphractic Terminator. Yay! Love your videos, man. Quick one, though. To varnish or not to varnish a mini? Well, I personally don't, but I know a lot of people who do. So really, the choice is yours. I know that's not a great answer, but it's up to you. Do as you like. And then it just tells you to build arms, arms. 8 what? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh. Okay, that makes sense. Walker Smitties, thank you for becoming a member. That's very kind of you. That's our first new member of the week. I am building Cataphractii Terminators, Robin Ellis. And I built one. And he looks dumb. But it is what it is. That's fine. How about showing us your progress? Yeah, there you go. This is the next thing I'm supposed to do. Is actually put the bodies on. As I said, these are the old Cataphractii, which lets us have some test models for when we actually come to do the new Cataphractii, which are bigger and better. No. Old but gold. I don't know. Does that look like a gold miniature to you? Yay! Bodies are built. Yay! Alright. What time are we on? 10 to 10. Oh. Let's just keep going. 35 and 34. Rums. 35 and 34. Yes. Just finished my Meow Ying thanks to your video. It looks so goddamn awesome. Is there a video you talk about the basic old world base? It has like a sandy tone with grass and rock. Oh, yeah, it's the Mediterranean base ready mix from Geek Gaming Scenics. Applied with PVA glue. This stuff. Base ready Mediterranean soil. Yeah. And that's it. That's all I did to it. That was the only thing. Worth every penny. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. I tried to sort of have a bit of a rule with myself that for old world stuff, I would try and do things with a sort of flair of the old world, and in terms of the old world of painting, where I'm basing and stuff like that. So like an old world model deserves a PVA glue base, to my mind. Because like the texture stuff looks fine on it, but I feel like with those battle ready mixes, they're such good products that it just makes sense. It feels right with a goblin green rim. Goblin green, yeah. Do I still have my pot of goblin green? Yes, I do. Gold. And I refuse to open it. Because I don't want it to dry out. There you go. Just in case anyone was questioning my credentials as a hobbyist. It's a rather modern pot of goblin green. How dare you, Martin Spoon? That is a pot from 2002. Okay, it's not like a 1995 one, but that is from 2000, 2002, that sort of era. That pot of paint is older than some people in the chat. About to start tackling dark water with your guides. Going to start with the pox erections to try and get the application of contrast down before trying any more of the elite fillers. That makes sense. Pooping out horrible truths like that. I'm just saying. I've been in this a long time. This year will be my 30th anniversary of being a hobbyist. I don't know where my melted blood angel is. I have some melted Inquisitorial stormtroopers that live on my desk. They're very dusty though, one moment. This was me after a couple of years under my belt. I think I was I think I was 11 or 12 when I painted that. I managed to stay in the lines. As an example. As an example of one of those unfinished projects. It's Goblin Green, yeah, for sure. That's the difference between then and now. I still haven't finished that Kassakin video. They've just sat here laughing and taunting at me for the last year. $33 and $32. That's what's up next. God, it's mad to think it's been 30 years this year. It'll be around about November, December. And all it took was the release of contrast paints for me to be actually able to get good. Did you go to any of the Birmingham Games Days back in that era? No, I didn't. I was I would have had to have got my my parents to take me, and that is not something they were interested in doing, so we just didn't do it. I didn't go to Warhammer World for the first time until 2017. It was a long time coming. 2016, 2017, something like that. Would love to see you repaint a Jeans to the Cult Acolyte to Kamaroma. That was the first YouTube video, right? Deserves a retrospect so you can see how you've progressed. Yeah? Although that... it's not that long. That was 2019 was in that video came out. Videos. Oldest. Yeah, so July 12th, 2019 was the first ever tutorial on YouTube. I thought of maybe doing that for the 100,000 subscriber celebration. Which, you know, we're 1,994 away. And I definitely didn't contemplate ever giving it up at any point during all of those times. He said, lying on a weekly basis. 2019 was 7 years ago. It is 7 years ago. So it will be the 7th anniversary of the Warhipster channel on the 12th. 12th? Do we say 12th of July? 12th of June? 12th of July. 7th Ever do a Zenithal undercoat instead of grey hair only? No. I've done it once. I did it on Bellicor. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I did it on Bellicor. Does anyone who's watched that video more recently remember? genuinely can't remember. I'm fairly certain I did it on the Bellacore video, but otherwise, no, I don't do it. I don't like the finish that it gives with a rattle can, and I don't think it. I personally don't think it adds very much to the vast majority of miniatures. I think for some miniatures it really does. It really can add a certain something to it. But I think for the vast majority of miniatures it doesn't add a lot. Only increased drying time for the primer. And a slightly powdery finish in certain places. I feel like it's probably more effective with an airbrush because you can get it nice and smooth, or like a smooth blend between the light and dark. But yeah, personally, I don't like it. 38 and 39. Hey, maybe we'll try it with these. I think what I'll try and do is I'll try and just get one primed all white with the airbrush just to practice. And if that goes okay, what we'll try and do the other 5 like that. And then if that goes okay, we'll see. Side by side, shot by shot comparison, as it were. Maybe that's the video. Maybe the video is to do it flat white, airbrush yellow. Do it zenithal, airbrush yellow. Do it normal, brush paint yellow. And look at the comparison. That might be a pretty cool video. I don't know, what do you guys think? Maybe even do one with the pink. I don't want to do one with the pink, honestly. It does give you a really nice burnt orange, but I don't want them to be burnt orange. Look here, thank you very much for the 33 months of membership. Always love your work. Keep being yourself. I don't know any other way to be, I'm afraid. Did you know that if you use pink underneath yellow, it gives you really nice shading? It's literally brand new information. That's never come up before, ever. One. Two. Three. Four. I was relayering the flat area of the Vespid Stingwings drone, and it looks horrible. How to tackle that next time? More watering coats, maybe? Is that the white on the drone? It sounds like you just need to do a second thin coat. Yeah, it sounds like you just need to do a second thin coat. It's a base paint, so that's fairly normal to be expected. Flat areas are so difficult. They are. It's why I always expect to do 2 thin coats on a big flat area. That's just the way it is. For any form of base and layering that goes on. Especially with the white, right? Like, as I was saying the other day in no, not the other day, earlier today, in every single video I do, the worst part is always the metallics, because you're using base and layer paints to do them. And so consequently anything like, even in like Ultramarine Stoneguard, when I eventually come to relayering the white, it's not going to be my favourite part of it, but it is so vital to the completion of those models, which is why we've had such a kind of relaxed attitude to having the mistakes all over it. But it's not my favourite part of the paint job by any stretch of the imagination. Well, the main thing is so far we've managed to get 5 models that look like Cataphractii Terminators, which is good. What goes next? 61, 61. Yeah, let's just do those. Why are they on the flats? 61. It goes on the left shoulder. I find it so very, very frustrating when you're building something like the Cataphractii, and in this very kit, the pauldrons themselves are connected to the inside edge where no one's going to see them. But the bit that goes underneath, no, connected to the sprue, just on the thing, on the flat of the armor piece. And you think, oh, that's okay, the pauldron's going to go over it. Nope, it's connected in literally the one place where everyone will see it if you don't get the flash off. Or if you muck it up. So if you do as I keep doing, and accidentally taking the rivet off, that's it, you've just taken the rivet off. Yep, just done it again. And it's so frustrating to me when it's in the same kit. There are many things about building miniatures, as you know from watching my sprue reviews. Particularly Games Workshop ones. Where they do things where it's like, but why? You could have done it so differently. You were the chosen one. Thank you for your comprehensive and frankly idiot-proof videos on contrast. They helped me break a decade-long fear of painting. Well, that's the main headline. Congratulations. It lives in you, Scoob. You had the power all along. But I'm glad I could help. He lives in you. Oh, God, and again. But that's what we do around here. I just want everybody to have fun painting miniatures. Painting miniatures, as it turned out, was the career I was always destined to do, because it makes me so very happy to do it. And so, helping other people enjoy doing this, get the sense of catharsis that I get from doing it, is the highest compliment you can give me. So, thank you very much for enjoying the content. Are you coming up with new recipes for things every now and then and experiment? Well, sometimes if it calls for it. Not everything calls for it. Once you lock onto something that works for a particular colour, there's no sense changing it. So like my Blood Angels recipe will stay the same forever as long as they keep making the paint. Because I feel like I've refined it now to the point of where I really like it. Late to the stream, I've been painting my new white scars all week. Well, that's exciting. White scars. The best legion. How do you do a metallic armor, but with a little bit of a Nurgle green shine to it? Have you seen any of my Darkwater videos? Because I think the answer to that question is in the Darkwater. Right, 62s. I've got to try and get some views on those videos, DJ Willem. I'm hustling. But yes. All of the Nurgle stuff in that is done with a metallic green. 62s. Oh. Something went wrong when displaying this web page. Hey, something went right. You're back. Chat, thank you very much for 50 likes on the stream. It's very late in the day for me to be saying, but can we get 49 members? Is tomorrow the day of a new Contrast Plus? It is indeed. Tomorrow it will be either Necrosaur Amantar or Captain Titus and the Wardens of Ultramar. I haven't edited either of them yet, but I will be doing one tomorrow. And I will decide as I'm doing it. I'll settle down shortly after lunch and be like, right, what do we fancy doing? What do we think that people want to see first? Just did the final edge highlight of Canoptic Alloy on your Noble Green Army and it really pops. Yeah, I went back and forth for ages on whether or not it was going to be Ironbreaker. Because like silver kind of makes sense in that sort of color space. But like, it just needs that little extra pop of something else, is what I decided at the time. And I was like, it's not Liberator Gold because that's not bright enough. I don't want to mix up like a 2-to-1 mix of Stormhost Silver and Retributor Armor. And like, I was like, Canoptic Alloy. Canoptic Alloy will have the answer. It just so happens that it does. It works in the color space. Like I said, I initially thought Ironbreaker, but it wasn't. It wasn't to be. It was so Canoptic Alloy was the right choice. Speaking of, will you be doing new Raptors and Sisters? If Games Workshop decides to send them to me, then I shall paint them. If they don't, then I won't. Hello, Pete. I'm very well. How are you? I've stopped using snakebite leather / Cygor brown for leather pouches. Switched to Garagax Sewer and works better for me. Garagax Sewer is a lovely paint. It is a lovely paint. I really like it when it's like thinned a little bit. I love the tone that it gets when you just a little bit of Lamian medium, like sort of like, well, like 4-to-1. I really like the tone that comes out. It's got a sort of slightly it's like it's a sort of sickly tone to it in some ways, but depending on the rest of the vibe of the model, it doesn't look like that. Because sometimes it looks like it's like a really warm leather, but other times it looks like it's like slightly pale. Which I love that as a color, because like just with the vibe being able to be changed just on like what the model looks like, and also the primer, of course, can help. My favorite, of course, as I'm sure everybody knows, is Cygor brown, because I love how dark it is, and I also love thinning Cygor brown because I love how red it is when you thin it. I used to be the biggest fan in the world of Gore Grunter Fur, and to a certain extent I still am, but I've moved away from using it because I feel like where it really shines as a paint is when you use 2 layers of it, and I don't always want to do that. It's not always the right colour. See what I mean? Snakebite leather is one I don't often use. I make an effort to try and use it more often. And do you know what a paint that I realised the other day that I haven't used really at all, but it has, because it barely comes up, is Celestium Blue. And I think Celestium Blue is a really nice colour. But the opportunities to use it are few and far between. I also think Doomfire Magenta is similar in that regard. And for a long time, I didn't think I used Mantis Warriors Green once until until Dark Water came along, and now it's like, oh yeah, but this Mantis Warriors Green stuff is lovely. I'm not going to put the little tilting shields on all of them. I'm just going to leave one on the sergeant. That's what I'm going to do. Because I don't want to. That's why. And you can't make me. Because it says here they're optional. Way, we did it. We built 5 Cataphractii Terminators in 2 hours. Slightly less. But check that out. Boom. Our first 5 victims for the airbrush are now built. So I've got another 5 to build. But our first 5 victims are now built. And who knows, we might do a really good job straight off the bat, really enjoy it, and then that means we'll end up with like 20 Cataphractii Terminators, which would be great. I don't think we will, but it would be great. These are the newest ones. No, these are the old ones, James. So my plan... I've built these from the old Age of Darkness box. I have the new box. The new box is... here. So I bought this. So these are the ones I want to do a good job on. So if I do a crap job on these ones, that's okay. But these are the older ones. So that's the intention. You missed a "the" in your sentence there, Pete, and it makes your statement in chat very funny by not having the "the" in there. Not too bad, bud. Getting head pounded on a work course and homework at the moment, but chilling a little more before hitting sack and saw you were still live. TMI. What Legion are you going to do? I think we decided it makes the most sense to do Imperial Fists because we've already started them with the Fell Blade and the Arachne Quad. And if it goes well, then we've got an Imperial Fists army. If it goes badly, then I made a oopsie. But there we go. And the first colour through the airbrush will be pink. Why would I do that? Is there something you know, Grey Wolf, that I don't? Are you about to drop some knowledge? Oh, I'm so curious. There you go. I don't think James was here earlier for the joke. It is, I think... Just got back from a very long day on the road looking at the new house. Is it exciting? Are you exciting? Excited? Are you exciting? You are an exciting person. Are you excited? Is it looking good? Just don't airbrush Emperor's Children pink. That paint is the worst to airbrush. Oh, no, 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 no. No. Still bummed at how much it all costs. Yeah. Yeah. But then it's done. Eventually. When it is done. And then it's really cool. Hello, Mr. Watkin. How many new paints did you buy? For the airbrush? None. I haven't bought any paints for it. They did, Galeri did send me some Kaleido Colorworks stuff. Which I will try out on something else. There is a yellow in here. I think. Yes. There's a pink in here as well. Oh, I wonder what I could use that for. I swear, I was thinking it then. When you mentioned painting Imperial Fists, it's like the. Did you know that Viggo Mortensen? It's that, but the pink. Oh dear. Should I just get it completely wrong and just be like, I'm going to do artillery green gloss underneath it? Wait, what? So yeah, they sent me some of these, which are... They look cool. I like the little pots. Look at that. Doesn't that looks premium and sexy, doesn't it? I can't speak to the quality of it, but it looks very nice. So we'll try it out. There you go. There's a pink. It's just called pink. And there's a yellow. Is there more? Is there more than one yellow in here? Yeah, orange yellow and cream yellow. Orange yellow. Shine red. Orange. Yeah, so these are the two. These are the two yellows that come in this. They look exactly the same. That was entirely pointless. So yeah, I'm excited to try these because I don't know what it is. Just they look space age. Look at that lid design. It's nice, isn't it? I haven't cracked any of them open though yet, so there's a mixing ball in it. USP, mate. Oh, I'm in a spiky mood now. So yeah. This is the primary colours set. That's what that is. So we'll give that a go at some point. Formulated for airbrush. Here's my question for those of you out there who airbrush. A set like this, right? These are opaque paints, right? So theoretically, these just act like a base or a layer paint, right? They're not going to have a see-throughness to them. So zenithal priming and then putting these over the top is pointless. Am I right in thinking that? In the same way that, like, when you see someone zenithal prime and then they apply Mephiston red over it, it's like, what was the point? What was the point in zenithal priming? They will to a degree. Okay, based on how much I put on, I assume. Depends on how much paint you add. A light coat will help the zenithal come through. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. That's cool. That was something I wasn't clear on. Because I was assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, even though you're putting the contrast paint through an airbrush, it's still going to have that translucency to it. So that's why they're quite cool over the top of a zenithal, because they're still slightly see-through, right? So you still get that. You still get that from them. You just don't get the two different colours out of them at the same time. You get a sort of blended mix of the two. But that's kind of what I thought. That was what my thinking was. Sorry, I'm just vibing to the music. Anyway, it's 11:15, guys. We've gone over by 14 minutes. So unless anyone has anything urgent that they have to say right now, we are going to wrap things up there. We'll be back on Friday live with a watch-along show for the preview at 7:30 p.m. GMT. Which I believe is like 2:30 on the Eastern Seaboard. If you're in America right now. I think. I don't know why I'm adding that as information. You guys know what time it's going to be. But yes, we'll be back on Friday for another live. And tomorrow, as mentioned, there will be a Contrast Plus painting tutorial. I don't know if it's going to be Titus or Necros or Amantar. Probably Titus, because, let's face it, we need to get that video done. It'll take me most of the day, but that's fine, because then it's just done. If I leave it, then I'll be like, oh, God, I'll have to do it on Saturday, you see what I mean? So I'll do it on, I think we'll try and get Wardens out tomorrow. And then Necros or Amantar out this weekend. But yes, that's it. Thanks for hanging out. See ya. See you later, guys. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Bye for now. Ta-ta!